What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Street Parking Podcast. This is another episode with one of our members who's here to do the vault with us. This episode is my partner for this little round of member vault. And we have not done our workout yet. We're going to go do it right after filming this. I'm super excited to chat with him, though. We could probably talk for hours. This is somebody that I actually talk to quite a lot on DMs and on social media and stuff like that. Somebody who's been a member of Street Parking for a long time, since April of 2018. So 5 years. And is known to all of you as Street Parking teacher. You used to be Teacher Fit RX.
Yeah,
is that
like
right?
Teacher Fit RX. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And it's Mr. Brad Hudgins.
Yes.
I know you guys can't see his feet right now, but he's got some shark slippers on, and he's just everything you would expect Brad to be based off of his social media is what we've experienced so far.
Yes.
So welcome. I think a lot of people are going to recognize you because you are super active in the community and you post all the time, and you've got like a very distinct vibe on your posts and stuff like that.
Right,
and you've been to how many meetups have just
like,
one?
Just Freedom Fest. That's it.
Okay.
Like legit, like a street parking meetup. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, he was at Fitness Freedom last year.
Yeah. Fitness Freedom, sorry.
And was super helpful and just worked really, really hard. And so a lot of you might have gotten to meet him there, but he's here with us to do the vault, my partner. And we're going to get to know Brad a little bit better.
Right.
He's more than just the teacher. Okay, you guys?
Yes.
And the crazy lights in the garage at 4 a.m. guy.
Yeah. That's me.
All right. So let's get to know you a little bit better. Before you were a part of Street Parking, you were in the Army.
Yes.
And talk a little bit about that and what your life was like before, because you retired, correct, in 2017?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So, retired from the Army 2017. Prior to that, I'll just go back like 10 years. Right?
Yeah. What was your job in the Army?
So I work with a Patriot missile system. At my halfway mark, 10 years in, I went warrant officer, right? So I was like a technician for the Patriot missile system.
Okay.
And at that time, I moved to Korea around like 2011 timeframe. Right?
Okay.
Prior to moving to Korea, in the Army, I was not in the, I guess you could say like the best health ever.
Okay.
I really like I don't even recognize that person that I used to be, if that makes sense, right? I was really just doing a bunch of things that weren't working out for me.
Like what?
Smoking cigarettes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Drinking a lot, eating a lot of fast food.
This is when you were in Korea or before?
Before Korea.
Okay.
Right. Eating a lot of fast food, you know, of course, passing my PT test, but like just skating by with everything.
What was your go-to fast food?
Oh God, like Taco Bell probably.
Oh my gosh. So like the bottom of the barrel fast food.
The bottom of the barrel.
Listen, I'm not judging you guys if you eat at Taco Bell, but it's not, I mean, who knows what that food is?
I don't even know.
Honest.
It was a mystery at the time. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So anyways, I deployed to Dubai, right? Deployed to Dubai before I went to Korea. And when I got there, I kind of started really like, man, I've got to get myself together, you know?
What was it about? Was it the Dubai itself? Was it that you were just in a new, one of the things that I know they talk about in a lot of like habit books and things like that are, one of the best times where people think it's not a good time, but actually one of the best times to try to establish new habits is right after a move, right when you get a new job, right when you change a relationship or something like that, because everything's thrown off.
Yes.
So you might as well just like relay a foundation. So what was it about that move that made you start thinking that way?
So usually when people go on deployment, right, you have nothing else better to do than to get in shape, right? So, you know, I kind of got there just taking a look at myself like, dude, what are you doing? Right? Okay. So I started doing the traditional, I'm just going to run myself to death, right? And not eat anything good.
Oh, great.
Right? Just eat like, I really wasn't worried about nutrition. I was just trying to limit my food intake.
So you were you on base in Dubai?
On base, yes.
Okay.
I was on Al Udeid Air Base.
Okay.
Yes. So did that. I actually was there for like 4 months and I ended up losing like 30 pounds. But
did you stop smoking too?
No, not at the time.
Just running and smoking.
Right. Just such a good combo, right? So anyways, I come back, I lost a lot of weight, right? And I kind of started to develop a fitness habit, right? So I get back and then once I'm back, I was in El Paso. I was going to the gym, doing the basic chest workouts.
Like a regular, like a 24-hour
Yeah, just no
type.
intensity, just kind of like lifting weights, walking around. Still was not where I wanted to be at.
Can I ask what was that? How much do you weigh now?
Right now I weigh 172.
Okay, what was your heaviest?
Heaviest I've ever weighed is 225.
Ooh, 50 pounds.
Yes, seriously, 50 pounds. Like if
we
you
gotta
saw,
see some pictures of this.
Yeah, I'll show you. Like it's unrecognizable. Like, and that's been so. Now that's been what, 12 years ago? No, it's been over 12 years. It's been like 18 years almost.
Because I think you are the type of person that, because you're so active in our community and you're so positive and you're so consistent, that it would be easy for our members who just dive in and start seeing you to be like, oh, well, this guy just loves working out.
Absolutely.
Like it's easy for him.
Yes.
So I think sharing as many of the stories like yours as we can, and sharing like where you came from is so important. And that's crazy. I wouldn't have guessed that. You're not the first person who's come here with a similar story. I mean, even like Fit Grandpa John a while ago was saying how he has lost a lot of weight, and nobody would have thought that. They would have been like, oh, this dude's just been working out his whole life.
Yeah. So that was 2010 timeframe, right? 2011, I moved to Korea.
Are you stationed in Korea? Are you
stationed in Korea, right? Get stationed in Korea, get huge into running, right? This time I'm like, okay, now I'm going to work on my nutrition. I was literally running a 10K every single day and like not eating enough food, but I was eating healthy food now, right? Quit drinking, quit smoking, quit doing everything, right? So this one day I was in Korea just doing the regular gym lifting stuff. And I posted a picture of myself on Facebook. And one of my friends said something that was like super hurtful. I don't remember what he said, but he like made a jab at the way I looked, right? Like, you're in the gym, you don't even look like you work out or something like that, right?
This is one of your friends?
Yeah, of course. Not anymore, right? What?
And not in like a yo bro, like joking way. Yeah. Like he was like actually being
some
mean.
people that are broke down, and for me, that was like, I was like, dude, watch me now, right? So that day I quit smoking cigarettes.
Wow.
I quit eating anything unhealthy. I like went super fit. At that time, I was now like 185, right? So that was like October of 2011. By the time I hit my birthday, I was like completely shredded, right? Like
birthday, how old?
March. So that was 2012. Oh my God, that was...
So 11 years
30,
ago?
Yeah, I was like 32 maybe, 31, 32. Okay. Right? So I got like the bet, like I looked unrecognizable. Everybody's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, how did you do this?
Like revenge bod?
Yeah, right. Exactly. I was doing it for all the wrong reasons, right?
Right.
And I got, I was just obsessed with trying to make myself look like I was super fit. So
when you changed your nutrition and you started eating healthy, because I know most people, myself included, your understanding of what healthy is it's like an evolution where like when I started eating healthy, it was like Kashi cereal and Kashi bars instead of like Kellogg's cereal. You know what I mean? And then it improves a little bit and you learn more and more. So when you first started eating healthier from Taco Bell, what was that transition like?
Man, it's like, okay, for breakfast, I'm gonna eat Total Raisin Bran, right?
Right.
Like,
okay. So it's like choose a better cereal.
Yeah, choose a better cereal, right? And then staying away from fast food, trying to cook more.
Okay.
After I really like dug into nutrition, then I started, I still wasn't eating enough, but I was really like super clean. It was either fruits, vegetables, like all whole foods, right?
You go like, so you went pretty much like paleo?
Yeah, like all whole foods. I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew like meat, vegetables, fruit. If I stick to these, I'm going to be okay.
When you were in Korea, you were on base also. And so were you eating mostly on base? Because I've been to Korea and I feel like there are unhealthy options everywhere, but also their healthy options are pretty tasty.
Oh yeah.
Like in the cities and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, it was more like I brought my own food, right? So, but I was obsessive with it. Like wouldn't eat a piece of birthday cake. If it was on Thanksgiving Day, like ate turkey,
so you went maybe vegetables, a little bit
like,
too.
Yeah, like I was antisocial. I wouldn't go out. I wouldn't do anything. I was just like, no, because I got to get up in the morning and I'm running, right? Or I'm going to do this. So that's like really when I developed, I guess you could say, my consistency, right? So that was October 2011 is when I started being consistent, like all the way till now, like 5 days a week, every single week, all the way till now. But my evolution with nutrition and fitness has changed.
And your
along the way.
mindset and everything.
My mindset. Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's such an interesting thing because some of the most consistent people go through this period of like over the topness.
Yes.
I think that's pretty normal. I give people a hard time about it, or I try to educate people. Like when our members are saying they're doing 75 hard, or they're trying to like do all of this street parking stuff and eat perfectly and all of this. We try to tell people like, hey, like don't do too much because it's not sustainable. But there is something to say about like going too far and then reining it back in.
Yes.
I think can also work if when you rein it back in, it's a sustainable, healthy lifestyle. And it's not just flip-flopping from one extreme to the next, back and forth over and over again.
Yeah.
Because we see that a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So you went to the point where you're not eating birthday cake.
Yeah. Like,
and because I mean, I don't know that I've ever gone that far for that long, but I've definitely, like when I was competing and stuff, been missing out on a lot of life because that was my focus. How then did you get to where you are now, where it's a much, you're still very consistent, you're still very fit, but it's you have a better balance?
Yeah. So got to that point where I was eating I wasn't barely eating any carbs, right? Well, I was running all these races, winning first place.
What
in
kind
everything.
of races?
Just like 5Ks, 10Ks that were on base. I was just winning all of those because that's all I did was run, right? Well, this one time I was so burnt out, I just felt absolutely wasted. Like I was running, but I was no energy at all. I ran this race on Halloween. It was like a zombie 5K or something. I win it and I was done, like depleted. I was like, I'm going to get a pizza. Right. Ooh. I ate the whole large pizza. Oh my gosh. Right?
I bet you looked super jacked the next day.
Yes, I was right.
Your body was like, oh my gosh, thank you.
I crushed that pizza and I woke up the next morning and I felt like a superhero. Yeah. Right. I was like, man, what have I been doing to myself? Right. So then it wasn't like, oh, I need pizza. It was like, okay, carbs, like bring them back in your life. So change that part, have a PT test. And this is kind of what got me into functional fitness CrossFit, right?
What year is this?
This is still 2012. Now,
okay.
Right. So 2012, take a PT test, have the highest PT score in the battalion. I ran a sub 11 2-mile, like ridiculous amount of push-ups.
I'm so glad our workout doesn't have running in it because I would just look so slow.
Right. So I don't run that much anymore. But so because of that, there was a level 1 CrossFit level 1 coming, right?
In Korea.
In Korea.
I did a level 1 in Korea.
And it was all Army, right? Adrian Bosman was there for mine, right? Knew nothing about CrossFit. Never heard of it, never anything. I just get told by my commander.
That happened a lot.
Dude,
where we'd
you're going to level 1.
Military people show up and had no idea what they were doing.
No clue, right? So here I am thinking, oh, you're super fit, right? They're picking you because you're the pillar of fitness.
I know where this story goes.
So then I go there. On day 1, they had us do something was like hang cleans, like thrusters, and then a run or something like that with a barbell. Knew nothing about any of those movements. No. It looked like an absolute fool trying to like cycle a barbell and all this stuff. Well, anyways, I remember coming off of those thrusters, and running is my jam, right? So I'm like, oh, here's where I'm going to make up my time. I took like 2 steps and fell over. Like my legs like went out like baby deer legs, right? So I get back up, stumbled through the run, got through all that stuff, and got home after day 1, and my legs hurt so bad, but I was like, what am I doing wrong? Like, I didn't take any offense to it. I was clearly something's not right. So I finished the second day, get my certification and get back. And then they tell me, we want you to open a CrossFit gym on base. Know nothing about any of this stuff, right?
I learned how to do a thruster yesterday, but thank you.
Right. So they gave me 2 racquetball courts and like $35,000.
Wow.
They were like, turn these into a CrossFit gym. I was like, okay. So I just jump into it, right? Luckily, there was a LT who was on the base that did CrossFit before. So he helped me like, you need this rig. Wow. This stuff, right? So I order all this stuff. It all comes into the racquetball courts. I built it all by myself.
Wow.
Because nobody had any interest in it at the time.
Huh.
Right. So nonprofit affiliate Hit to Kill CrossFit, which is still over there. And luckily, right when we opened up there was a guy, Justin Wooder, that came in. Mm-hmm. He was a coach in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, right? Okay. He's like, hey, man, I was like, dude, I need your help because I'm going to hurt somebody. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I don't want to act like I know what I'm doing. So normally people do a year in Korea. he spent the whole year there, and we did nothing, but he just taught me everything.
Wow.
Like forced me out of my comfort zone. Dude, you're teaching everybody how to do a push jerk today. I'm like, what? He's like, yes, get out there. And then at the end, he would be like, think about this, do this. What about this cue? You know, you could have helped her by saying, do this, do that, right? So I spent a whole year being taught by a guy who had a ton of experience, right? And then from there, spent the last of my time in Korea running the CrossFit gym.
You were in Korea for 5 years?
6.5.
6.5.
So I was there from 2011 until mid 2017, like May 2017.
I got to go there twice, and I really enjoyed it, to be honest.
And it was cool because the Army paid for me to go to CrossFit gymnastics, CrossFit kettlebell, and CrossFit endurance while I was there. So I got all this free training, all this free equipment.
Nice.
And yeah, it was a good time.
Part of your story that I really like is just the open-mindedness that you had and the lack of ego that you had when you went to that seminar. Because so many people, whether it's CrossFit or anything else, it could be not even fitness related, would have an experience like that where they go into it the best on base at the PT, felt like you were really fit, looked really fit, and had that experience where you just got super humbled. It goes one of two ways. It goes either this is stupid, it's dangerous, CrossFit's dumb, or whatever the experience was, or, oh man, like I still have so many opportunities for growth.
Right.
And I think when people struggle with something, they always have that opportunity of like, and it's not that some things are dumb in life for sure, right. But you have this opportunity to be like, what can I learn from this? Or I'm going to immediately go into being defensive and throw it out because it makes me feel uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah. You've been exposed, right?
Right. Because I had the same experience with CrossFit when I started it too. I had been a trainer for a long time, but more like regular, like Globo Gym type stuff. And I competed in a NPC, like bodybuilding / fitness type competition, and was Miss Fitness Utah before CrossFit. And I was humbled by it within the first week as well.
And one good thing about Justin being there, like he was obsessed with movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was like, look at
this. That's so good that
it's
you had
so
that.
Like when you see somebody moving this way, like it's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like when people have everything connected, right? So he was like really getting me into all of that, like the movement of this person's moving like this. And if they're not, what can you do to fix that type thing, right? So I was really like digging deep in all that stuff to the point where I was getting a bachelor's in general studies, right? I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was like 2 semesters away from graduating, and I changed my whole degree plan to exercise science because I was so obsessed with it, right? I was like so obsessed with it by that point.
Isn't it like, why are we all not obsessed with how our own body works? Isn't that weird?
Yes.
Like we all know how to, like so many people know how to fix something on their computer or their car or whatever, like the cable's messed up at your house, and you know more about these like electronics and things like that than we know about our own operating system. It's so interesting.
Yeah,
to me.
And I think I think people just get to this point where like, oh, I move like this because I'm older, right? Mm-hmm. Or there's no coming back, right? My knee's messed up. Oh. That's why I can't. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what I think people get into. It's like this. You can't fix that. Like my body moves like that, and there's nothing I can do to fix it. Right. Thing. Right.
Okay. So you retire in 2017. You come home from Korea. Today you're a teacher.
Yes.
What do you teach?
JROTC.
What is that?
So JROTC is like it's a program run by the U.S. Army, right? In partnership with schools, and basically what we do is it's a class on life. Because a lot of people think, okay, it's Army. I'm teaching people how to be a soldier and how to join the military. Right. That's such a small percentage of everything we do, because you'll see kids wearing a military uniform at school. Think, oh, they're teaching them how to be soldiers. Not at all. We're teaching them how to be self-aware, how to communicate, how to develop leadership skills, emotional intelligence, like all of these things that I didn't even know the program was about. I just did it because I wanted to get in the door of teaching, and I taught the curriculum for a year, and I was like, man, every kid should have this class, right? Finances.
How old are the kids that you're working with?
9th through 12th grade, high schoolers.
Okay, so like 14 to 18.
Yeah.
And is it at one particular school, or do you work? Is that like something
I work
that
at one
takes you-
school.
Okay.
So each one of the high schools has a JROTC program. Yeah.
Okay. But all of your students are kids who plan on going into the military?
Not at all.
Oh,
no.
okay.
So it counts as a physical education credit. So they have to do PE with me twice a week on Mondays and Fridays, right? Which they love, of course. But so we do PE Mondays through Fridays.
Because you have the Riz. Is that like the charisma thing? Was it you that posted about that?
No.
It was another one of our members who's a teacher. He was trying to teach us all the lingo that the kids say in school.
But yeah, so me, at school, when we work out, I'm take them outside, turn the radio on, loud music, go through like a functional fitness workout, teaching them how to squat. Like, okay, we're doing lunges. I see somebody doing it wrong. No, so I'm basically coaching them and they're doing a workout at the same time, so that trying to get them to develop a good habit for fitness. For example, when COVID hit, right? One thing I did, I posted a YouTube video to my school's Twitter account every single day. Workout of the day. It was for teachers. It was for students and everybody, where I would just all body weight stuff you could do in your room or whatever. I'd post a video every single day, with the rep scheme. This is what the movement looks like, all this stuff like that. For basically the whole time we were on lockdown.
Wow.
And it got to the point where the district picked it up and they would start sharing it.
Wow.
And then, parents started doing it with students, with their kids, and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's PE Monday through Fridays, classwork Tuesday through Thursday.
When did you start doing that? Because you got home in 2017, and then when did you start doing this teaching job that
Immediately.
you have now?
So I got hired in Korea. Right?
Oh, okay.
I did my interview over the phone at 3:00 in the morning.
So you're 6 years into this.
Yes. 6 years. Yes. In my 6th year. Yes. 6
and you've been at the same school the whole time?
Same school the whole time. And both of my sons are there. So
how old are your
sons? I have a
freshman,
freshman, 15 years old, Roman. And then my oldest, Brooklyn, is an 11th grader. He'll be a senior next year.
Have they taken your class?
Brooklyn is in my class. He's actually, so I coach the air rifle team. He's one of my shooters. So he's with me all the time. He's at practice, school, all that stuff.
Okay, so that was the other thing that I needed to ask you about what this is. So when you sent over your usual daily schedule, which we'll get into, you talked about this air rifle instruction. What is
air rifle? So
talk about it.
CrossFit Games, I forget what year it was. I just remember seeing a picture of Annie Thorsdottir holding one of the rifles that we shoot, right? So that's what I coach. It's precision air rifle. It's like
target practice.
Yeah, and it's
but they're not real bullets.
Right, it's a pellet. You can buy the pellets at Walmart, but the ones we use are a lot nicer, I guess you could say.
Okay.
But it's a high-powered air rifle.
And this is at the high school?
This is at the high school.
Only in Texas, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. Well,
I grew up in Utah and I've never heard of this
in the
at
South,
a school.
Of course, in the Southeast, it's huge, right?
Yeah.
And just like JROTC, but as you spread out in the United States, JROTC gets less and less. But in the Southeast, Texas and all that,
I think it's cool. I think it's cool.
Yeah. So I have a whole range at the school. At school.
Wow.
So I have my offices, the classroom right behind the window is a massive range for my kids. So yeah, I practice every morning and every afternoon with them. Actually, after this, I have a shooter that qualified for the national championship.
Wow.
So she goes to shoot in Ohio next week for the national championship.
Oh, that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you talked about emotional intelligence and leadership skills and all of that, which to me, the physical stuff that you're doing is all that, that's all so intertwined.
Yeah.
You learn so much about yourself through fitness, especially if you're doing any sort of intensity in your fitness. What are some of the stories or changes or surprises that have happened to you with kids that you've worked with where maybe they've never been exposed to fitness. They never played sports or anything. Mm-hmm. And I ask because Julian has been at his old high school recently,
right?
Working. He helped them redo their weight room, and he goes up there every once in a while, and he'll run. Basically, he'll do street parking workouts and sometimes turn them into team workouts and stuff. But he just loves seeing the kids that you would never expect to have to latch onto it or to have such a profound experience where it's you can see they're really trying, and it's not a kid that you would expect them to try. And they've come up and talked to him about how important it's been to them, and these girls that are super shy and never really talk to anyone or make eye contact or like going for it in the workout. Yeah. So what are some of the things that you've seen that have been profound when it comes to
I
that?
guess just the light bulb moments, right? Because when I do physical education with these guys, or physical fitness, whatever you want to call it, I try to make it, yes, it's a workout, right? It's not supposed to just be easy.
Right.
So it is challenging, but I always make it fun. And I think my experience with coaching CrossFit really helped out because I can just bring the right energy. You know what I mean? Like there's zero discouraging, everybody's working out with everybody either in a big circle, they're all looking at each other, doing the same stuff. And, there are kids that, may already be obese, pre-diabetic, right? And they're the ones that are just like looking for a tool, like, because, maybe their family, maybe nobody works out in their family, right? And me being encouraging to them, like, I don't care what you look like now. I don't care where you've been, you can make a change if you decide that that's what you want to do.
It's really hard too, because you, in a lot of those cases, not every case for sure, but in a lot of the cases, a likely scenario is that a kid like that, his or her family has the same lifestyle. So it's hard for somebody who has their own struggle with a healthy lifestyle to try to get their kids to do something different than the example that they're setting, because it takes an admission of, I'm not doing a good job because you're just doing what I'm doing. Like you have to admit that. And I think that's where a lot of times, even when I post stuff about like, hey, this is what I do with my kids, I get a lot of weird comments that are really just projecting of like, I would never not take my kids to McDonald's. And it's like, well,
right. You're making them feel some
because
kind of
you would then have to admit that you also shouldn't be eating some of that stuff.
Absolutely.
And I think that's really hard. And even me just saying that, I'm sure I'll get some sort of comment about like how that was judgy or whatever, but it's tough. So parents in that situation are going to have a hard time. And I actually think that in a lot of our schools, the teachers that are running the PE programs,
oh, for sure,
it's the same thing. Like they're telling the kids what to do, but they wouldn't or couldn't do it themselves. And I think that it's possible to coach from that position, but it's not nearly as likely that you're going to inspire the kids. They're going to look at you and be like, well, why don't you run a mile?
For sure. And that's
so you can come in and you have this energy and you're setting a good example. And you're not treating it like hey, this is a punishment. You have to do this and, suck it up. It's like, no, this is fun. This is cool. Listen to the music and we're all doing it together. Yeah. And I think one of the things that society as a whole needs to like switch is that exercise is not a punishment. It is just, it's hard, but it's so rewarding in so many ways. It's not just to look a certain way or to like, because you ate something, now you have to go exercise, like Absolutely. Switching that, I think. And the earlier and younger we can do that with people, the better it's going to be for their long term.
Because I for sure fell into that trap. When I was going through my thing, it was like, what did you eat? Now you need to do this, right? Or just constantly punishing myself, right? With workouts and doing way too much. And over time, that is completely, my mindset is just like, am I having fun yet? Yes. If I am, then that's good.
Right.
Right. And that's why you probably see a lot of times I will just like fitness, freedom, everything.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Always, because I just want to have fun. Like I'm at the point now where it's like.
You're doing random stuff with kettlebells and like you've got all sorts of weird gear that you're always throwing in.
Celebrate life, right? Just celebrate being alive, celebrate just being able to move. Like it's a gift. And I think that once I got to that point, that's what makes it so easy for me to just get out in the garage. It's like, I get up at 4:00 in the morning to work out.
You're another one of those. We've had quite a few of those here with the Vault members that have been on the podcast, the 4 a.m.ers. You guys are nuts.
Yeah. So, my alarm goes off. I get up like that. Like it's to the point now where I just get up. There's no contemplating. It's, you just got to get up and move. Right. And then I could complain, but there are people that have way less to work with, are in way worse situations than me. Like, who am I to complain about getting up and having the freedom to move where some people don't, And I think it's just the longer that I do this, the more that I just realize that what I'm doing every day is a blessing. It's not a chore. It's not punishment. Like, it's something
kind
I
of
want
that,
to do
like,
for the rest. I hope I can do for the rest of my life.
I think it's like Jocko or someone that's the discipline equals freedom thing. It's like, if I can just stay disciplined to just show up and do this every day, and it doesn't need to be long or over the top or anything like that, but like my whole world opens up.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So yeah, you have a pretty hectic schedule.
Yes.
Sounds like you work out pretty much. How long have you been doing the 4 a.m. thing?
Since I retired. So once I took the teaching job, once I took the teaching job, it was, so prior to that, the CrossFit gym, I would get up in the morning. I would run an early morning class at like 6 a.m. After that, I would do like some 5-3-1, right? Before work started. And then me and my buddies would go into the gym.
Was your family in Korea with you, or were they here?
They were here. Or in Korea.
Wow. Okay. Yep. So your boys were little in Korea.
Oh yeah. So like when I got there, Roma was 3, Brooklyn was 5. And we never came back to the United States except for once for my brother's wedding, because all we did was travel. Yeah. Like just give them a worldly view of life, you know, because so many people are just
stuck, you knew you would end up
stuck
back
in
here
a town,
eventually.
right? You're just stuck in a small town. You can't see past the county line.
That's really cool,
right? And they've seen so much that they're like, when I graduate, I'm moving to the Philippines.
You're like, all right.
I'm like, hey man, do whatever makes you happy. That's how I am.
Okay, so busy schedule, 4 a.m. You've been doing that also for 6 years, and you've been able to maintain it. But one of the things that you told me was that when you retired, because you joined street parking in 2018, but you've been on this schedule since 2017. What brought you to street parking, and what is it that you were kind of searching for that you missed after retiring and moving back to the States?
Right. So go from the CrossFit gym where just had a community, right? Like just had all like-minded people doing the same thing as me. I take the teaching job. That doesn't exist, right? Nobody gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
You're not like in the teacher's lounge talking about your 4 a.m.
Like I look different than everybody else. I act different than everybody else. And, you know, it was just kind of foreign. So for me, luckily I had the tools, but my tools were, I had a massive CrossFit gym, a bunch of people. Every day was a good time. Now here I'm at 4 o'clock in the morning. The garage is cold. I don't have anything set up the right way. So everything is super cluttered. So I had a 3-car garage. And when I first started, I used the 1-car garage. The 2-car garage was for vehicles and all this stuff, right? So I am trying to program my own workouts, which was not working out because of course I just did this. I started doing the same thing over and over again. Because like, I'm not going to program thrusters for myself. That's dumb, right? So
no one wants to do 4 a.m. thrusters.
Yeah, I'm not going to do any of that stuff. So I spent a lot of time just kind of going through the motions, but I was still showing up, right? So I was really not doing a whole lot, but I was there, right? And that's kind of what I clung on to. I knew about street parking like well before I left Korea. And I was following you guys, even when Julian did like the Asada Boys or whatever that was. Yes. Yeah, so I was following all that stuff. Like, oh, look at this dude working on his driveway, right? So I'm following all that stuff. And I was so on the fence because at the time I felt like I was giving up on coaching and all that stuff.
Like I should be
like, how can I not do this?
Using my
I've
skills.
done it for I've done it for everybody else.
Right.
But then I had to accept the fact that like, you have a lot more going on now. Like I need somebody to not tell me what to do, but just show me the way. Right. So one day you guys posted like this, it was a butts and guts workout just on the street parking main page. And I did it. I was like, let me just do this workout. I was going crazy because at the time I was like about to buy a Peloton. Like I was literally losing my mind. Okay. Yeah. So I did this butts and guts workout, and I remember going through the comments and seeing other people doing it and like saying, oh my God, that was so hard or whatever. And I was like, man, this is what I'm missing. Like I need to have a common ground with
like that shared suffering.
Yeah. I need to have a common ground with a bunch of people. Like that's where I thrive at. I thrive in a community, like with fitness. That's where I'm going to show you my best self. If I know that there are other people watching me, I'm watching them. Like that's what lights me up. Right. So immediately after that, I signed up for street parking. I was like, I'm going for it. Right. So didn't have a barbell. I had like 100-pound D-ball. I had a couple of dumbbells and like a couple of kettlebells. And that's all I needed with street parking. Right. So I woke up every morning with a purpose. You know, I just woke up every morning like, I'm about to be told what to do. Like no matter what it is, I'm going to do it. And started getting more active on Instagram again and started getting into more, because I kind of quit that. Like when I left Korea, I was like, went dark on all of that stuff because I had nothing to share, because at the time I just felt like I was just going through the motions, right?
Okay.
And so that got me into street parking 2018. And then I was hooked after that. Like it was game over for me. So
yeah, if you guys don't already follow Brad on Instagram, he's way more active on Instagram like me than Facebook. At Street Parking Teacher is his handle. And he every 5 days a week, 6 days?
Sometimes like 7. I'm not even gonna lie. Every day.
But it's just a highlight of his workout and what he did and everything.
Even if I do maintenance.
Yeah. And I know a lot of us use that almost as like a log. And just like you're saying, like if other people see that, they're like, oh, all right, Brad did this today. Or like I have members that I follow and I'm like, like a friend of mine, when last week's fall, at the time of this recording, it was the mummy. And she's like, this is how I did it. And it's like, all right, I'll do it that way too. And it was a kind of a fitness free to me way.
Yeah.
But you'll post stuff. I mean, I feel like you still use the barbell probably least out of all of your stuff.
Yes.
And I'll see you doing random stuff with kettlebells, with your heavy D-ball still. And you are the ultimate like fitness freedom person where you'll change it up. So if you guys want ideas for how to do that, he's constantly doing some fun stuff with his gear. You also mentioned to me that you typically do in your schedule 2 back-to-back workouts, but one of them might be like boxing or something like that. So talk to me about like what your actual fitness looks like your sessions.
In the morning, right? So I get up at 4:01. Why
is it 1:01?
I don't know. It just feels good.
I thought that was a typo.
Like, wow,
on your
I got
email.
an extra minute. No, it's not. 4:01. I'm like, I don't know why 4 o'clock just sounds depressing. 4:01, I don't know. It's weird. So anyways, 4:01.
Okay.
I get up. I go straight into the garage, jump in the sauna, because I had a sauna, right? So I would just jump in the sauna. I'd sit there, drink, some water, and just kind of wake up. 4:30 in the morning. As soon as I hit 4:30, it's a warm up, right? 8 to 10 minute warm up. And then depending on how I felt, it was an extra program or as boxing, right? I picked up boxing during quarantine just because I wanted to learn something new and I couldn't really go anywhere. And now it's like, if I don't like feel like doing anything, like picking up a weight or something like that, it's the easiest way to get me moving, right? Because you just
do you hit like a heavy bag or like a speed bag, or what do you do?
Heavy bag, speed bag. I have like a swing, like aqua bag. Sometimes I'll shadow
I think
box,
I've seen that.
right?
Yeah.
So just kind of do that for like 20 minutes, and then I do the daily every single day.
So it's almost, the first one is almost like a little bit of a warm up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not entirely, but yes.
I mean,
and then
even
you
like
save the intensity for.
Right. Save the intensity for the daily workout. Even if I did Suns Out, Guns Out, like I'm not losing my mind going as hard as I can.
And I think that's cool, because normally people, you've seen it. We get asked all the time, like, if I do Suns Out, Guns Out, should I do it before or after? And typically we would say you probably do it after, but we always caveat like almost everything with, but you're not going to mess it up. Yeah. Like, just do it.
Just do it, right?
Like, you'll figure out what works best for you. Now, if there was a workout that had like a bunch of pull-ups in it and you were actually doing Suns Out, Guns Out with like max amount of weight and really like going to failure, then that's probably not going to work out very well. But you learn that stuff as you go.
As you go. You make
and
mistakes.
You can write in your journal or put in your logbook on the app, like, don't do that again. And then you just don't do it again. Yep. And you learn what works for you. So that's really cool. So it's, what would you say? Like, it's 45 minutes, an hour?
No, it's a little over an hour. So I get outside at 4. I need to be out by 5:30, 5:45 at the latest if I'm really just messing around too much.
Okay.
So at the beginning of the school year, I'll usually just set up a timer. So I have a sense of urgency. Great. Because after the summer, it's really hard to get back into you got to move, put your phone down. Like, next workout, go, right? So do you choose the workout the night before? Do you open it up that morning? So I never look at the workouts ahead, ever. Like, I just wake up and whatever it is, I do it. Of course, I've got plenty of friends that are like, did you see the workout for tomorrow? I'm like, no, I haven't, but Thank you. Yeah. Sure. Tell me what it is. Cause now I'm at the point where I don't cherry pick anything, because fitness freedom, right? Yeah. I mean, it's just like, okay, if it's that movement is in there, if I really don't want to do that movement with this piece of equipment, I can do something different. You had an injury recently, didn't you? Did you have to have something that you were
It might have not
it's been wrist. Yeah, it's been wrist, like back injuries.
Okay,
Like
it might have been a while ago in my brain.
Yeah, and I've been through all of those. Been through a lot of injuries, right? And you know, being in street parking, it just gives me the opportunity to just move around those injuries versus
and just keep going.
Well, I'm just gonna take a day off now. Like I can't do anything.
Right.
There's always I've always felt like there's something I could do. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. With that being said, so going back to who you were in 2011, because you were basically a completely different person, 50 pounds heavier, smoking, Taco Bell, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a quote unquote like relapse of unhealthy lifestyle for a week, a month, any sort of anything where you fell off of it for a little bit and then had to
nutrition?
Be like, what's happening?
Yes. Exercise, no. Exercise, I have not fallen off consistent wise. I have not ever.
What? When did the nutrition stuff happen, or is it just?
It could be like, so I'd be like really dialed in on my nutrition, and then the holidays come, I take a break, and then it's like 30 days later, I was like, dude, put the cookies away, man. Like, stop eating that stuff, right? So then I have to get myself back on track. As far as like, and just paying attention to body composition, not my weight. Like I never step on a scale. I don't know how much I weigh unless I go to the doctor. I just see what I see in the mirror, right? Like, and
how you feel when you're working
and how you feel,
and your clothes and everything.
Yeah. So, when I first started teaching, I was really good with my nutrition. And then I got to the point where I was like going home and like crushing Cheetos every day, like hot Cheetos, right?
Teenage boys in your house.
Yeah, just me and them sitting around just crushing hot Cheetos every day. And then I'll wake up in the morning and I felt like hungover, right? Just like, ugh. And I have to fight to get through every single workout. I do it. But then I was like, dude, like, get your mind right. Start eating right again. That's the problem.
Because I think that's another important thing is that to expect that to happen sometimes for most people, especially if you came from a lifestyle that was so different, like that doesn't go away. If you have a taste for hot Cheetos, Julian used to be a hot Cheeto eater too. When we met, he was like, I think the day we met, he bought hot Cheetos yes. When we were at the gas station together. Yeah. And the like, that sounds good. That doesn't ever go away.
No.
It's gone away from me with alcohol, to be honest, where I'm just like, if I even think about like taking a shot or something like that. Yeah. But like, the foods that tasted good back then still sound kind of good. And every once in a while you might fall off a little bit, whether it's on vacation or because you're going through a stressful thing or whatever. And to expect that and to just recognize it and just move on. Get back on the train.
Right. Yeah. Just move on. And I can say that I'm really good at that, right? Like I guess you could say fall off the wagon, right? Or eat way too many meals of things that I want to eat. And then I can wake up, 3 or 4 days later and be like, okay, dude, back on track. Let's go meal prep, get all this stuff done. And then just set myself up.
So that was 2011, which was 12 years ago. So you, your boys were in your life when you were still unhealthy.
Right. Yeah. So, and that's where I really got unhealthy at. Like, right.
Do you think they remember you being that, or were they too little?
They're too little.
They don't remember you being like that.
They don't remember me as that at all. I mean, I'm at the point where I don't even remember me like that.
Right. It's almost like
it's so foreign.
It's almost like it's a different person that you talk about, like somebody that you used to know.
Yes, it is. And I feel like that. Like I have changed so much, and it's been so long that I remember I was going through my Facebook photos one day, like last week, and I was just like, dude, that was really like, that was me. Like,
do you talk to your sons about that? Like, how is their attitude around health and fitness? Because I think that's like such a fine line to walk to, of like not pushing too hard, not being too over the top so that they almost like rebel against it, but holding them to a standard that you want that. Like it's tough.
Right. So for me, I'm all, lead by example, right? I never like pushed them to do anything. I never said anything like, hey, you shouldn't eat all that all the time, or you probably need to go in the gym and work out. Never did any of that stuff. So Brooklyn, my oldest, he's a street parking member.
Oh yeah, that's
right. So he's at like 130 workouts.
Dang.
He works out by himself at night, every night. Like we get home from school, I don't tell him to do anything. He just goes in the gym. I'm gonna go knock the workout out. when they were little kids in Korea, I used to take them to the CrossFit gym when I had class on Saturday. And I would teach them how to do like, hey, here's how you do a clean. Here's how you do it. You know, just work them through little movements when they were just kids. And once we got here, like my youngest son plays football, and football weightlifting is atrocious. It's
and
atrocious.
You're in Texas.
Yeah, and it's dangerous, right? Like kids do not move well.
No, teenage boys are the worst.
Yeah, so Roman, I'm like, okay, we're going to spend this summer before you get to high school, and we're really going to teach you how to lift the right way. Deadlifts, cleans, like all the powerlifting stuff he's going to do. So now he's like the resident expert. He comes and tells me, Dad, you should have seen this kid do this deadlift in the gym. Like you should have seen this kid do this power clean. And he's really efficient with his movement and his, with the barbell, because that's all they do anyway, is constantly stuff with the bar. So for me, yes, leading by example, but only offering them advice like, hey, let me show you how to do this, right? To try to grab their interest with it. With Brooklyn, I got him in the street parking, and at first he really didn't even do it at all, but I never pressured him to like, hey man, like I'm paying for this, you need to go do it. I just kept showing up every day and working out, and he sees me fit, and now he's a teenager and he's like, hey, like.
Does he come in and be like, what? Dad, did you do that workout this morning? Does he do you guys bond over it?
Oh, absolutely.
I
Even
love that.
Like he'll come in at night, and of course I'm like done by that time we get home from work, like cooking dinner, and he'll walk in the house and he's like, Dad, it's telling me to do this. Like, what should I do? Should I do it like that? So I kind of like give him a couple of tips. If he really is confused, I'll go out there and show him, make sure he's moving well. And I just leave him alone. He just puts his own music on. I don't know what his times are. I don't know what way to use. I just tell him, just do it, man. Like, who cares, dude? Like, just do it and log it. And if you do that, you're winning, right?
Right.
So, but now he is, like I meal prep for them every day at lunch. So they come and eat lunch with me at the office.
Oh yeah, because you're there.
Right. But it's by choice, because they see everybody else eating fast food and lunch, and they're like, I don't want none of that stuff. Like I want meal prep. Like I want meal prep because it tastes good, right? I leave fruit everywhere in my office. They'll come by in between class change,
that's so
grab
fun.
some fruit,
so
and they'll
great.
take off, right? Of course they eat junk food, yes. Like, let me get a bag of Takis. Let me get this and that. But like, I'll also tell them, okay, hey man, you can have that, but what are you going to eat for your meal? Like what are you going to eat for lunch today? And if they don't know, then I'll cook them something, or I'll take them to like Chipotle. Like if they're like, hey Dad, we want to go out to eat. My go-to, we're going to Chipotle then. Like I'm not taking you to Panda Express. Like we'll go to Chipotle.
My gosh, I ate Panda Express so much when I was in high school.
It's good though, right?
I mean, I haven't had it for a very long time, but I used to crush Panda Express.
Yes. So that's that. So if they want to go out to eat, they already know we're going to Chipotle. Like, and they love it and I love it. So it works out well.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, what a cool experience to be able to see your kids all day during the school day like that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you a 52-week endurance finisher?
Yes. Finally in December.
How were you working that in? And actually, so a common thread that I've seen with a lot of the members that have come is we have a lot of super early morning people, which is interesting. And I do think if you can get into that habit, it's a great way to build consistency, because there is no other excuse other than I didn't want to get up. And then we have a lot of people who are 52-week endurance finishers who have come for the vault also, which is interesting to me. So how did you work that in? And
so for me,
which version of it did you do?
So I did the assault bike, nothing but an assault bike for a full year.
Yikes. Once a week.
Once a week, right? And I literally stuck to that once a week. And those sessions
can be kind of longer too.
Yes. So the only way I knew I was going to make it happen, right, is like make this so easy that I can get it done, was Saturday. Because Saturday I had like extra time in the garage. It's already hard enough to do endurance as it is.
Were you doing it with other people? Because I know you have like a pretty tight-knit group.
Right. So there were some people that were doing it. I wasn't on track with the same.
Okay.
Like me and another person doing it on a weekly basis.
Like the same week.
Right. So it was just doing it on Saturdays. Like that was my thing. Like you're not going to miss. Like every Saturday you're doing an assault bike.
How come you did the bike and not the running, since you're such a runner?
Because that's why. Because I knew running was going to be easy, right? Like,
yeah, choose the one that's the one you want to do the least.
Right, exactly, right. And I just got an assault bike that year prior, and I wasn't using it in the workout. I was like, okay, it's not going to collect dust, dude. So you're going to figure out how to get it in.
Wow.
So because assault bike early in the morning does not sound appealing at all. There was no way that would have happened.
It's like loud and the wind is hitting
get up,
you.
drink some
and
coffee, hang out for a second, put on some music, and then do endurance. And that's what kept me consistent with it, was just doing it on a day where it was too easy to not do, if that makes sense.
A lot of people feel intimidated by that program. Like they're like, oh, it's just too much. Like I'm way too intimidated by it. We created the endurance on-ramp for that reason. Like go through this first before you try to dive into the 52. But what would you say to people who are like scared to tackle that because they think that it's too much, it's too hard, it's too...
Just find a time that makes the most sense, right? Like, honestly, I needed like a 2-hour window that I could be in the garage in order to make that happen. Some people don't have that. So you have to find the day where you're going to feel your best, right? Or you don't feel this sense of urgency to like, I need to go get this done because I got this, and this to do, right? So that's why Saturday,
get it, like check it out.
And that's why Saturday worked out for me so well. And I'm doing it again on a ski erg now for the whole year.
Oh my gosh. I think you told me that.
Yeah.
The other thing that I will say is if you guys are looking into that, because it's come up on so many of these podcasts, there's the timed version too. So if you're doing the run, bike, row, or ski version, it's going to tell you like how the actual like meters or calories or whatever. But there's also the timed version where it'll tell you exactly how long it's going to take.
Yes.
And there is a light at the end of the tunnel and you know how far away the light is, where the distance and the calories and stuff, like it all depends on how fast you're actually going.
Yeah,
so you can do the timed version as well.
Yeah. And I didn't even know about the time version. I wish I did now, because some of those workouts were awful.
Yes. Some of them are really
they're
long.
awful. Right. But got it done though.
So you found very early, you did that butts and guts workout. You saw the comments and you're like, well, this is what I'm missing. Like these people like talking to each other and stuff. And now you're a huge part of our community.
Yes.
You came to Fitness Freedom and helped us run that whole thing. You're super involved with some of the behind the scenes stuff with us, even helping encourage members to sign up for the challenges and things like that. How did you weave your way into the community? Now, obviously back in 2018, the community was much smaller than it is now. But what if somebody's like, I want that too, but I like feel like, am I just going to start posting my workouts on Instagram? Like, this is weird. Like, I'm not used to doing that, or I don't know how to make friends on social media. It feels awkward to me. Like, what kind of advice would you have for those people?
Yeah. So for me, posting online was like me logging, because I don't know if you remember, I used to never log. Like Wodify, I never log. It should be like 2,000 workouts by now, right? I'm serious. Like, it's crazy. I spent the first 2.5 years.
I remember actually, because you were a person that we actually talked about this, and I was pumped that you started logging.
Yes.
Yes.
So at the time, I wasn't posting videos when I first started with you guys, right? And actually, I think it was you. I was like working out on a weekend, and I would just post a picture of me doing a movement. And I think it was you. It was it was the summer of 2018. You were like, hey, where's the video at? Like, post a video, right?
Because we probably wanted to put you in the compilation videos.
In the comment.
We were always looking for dudes at first.
And honestly, I was in that same boat. Like, I don't want to post a video of me working out just because I didn't want anybody to be like, hey man, you should do this. Or, hey, I noticed in your squat, your left heel is lifting up,
the armchair quarterbacks.
So that's what I didn't want. Not because it was going to ruin my experience, but I just didn't even want to open the door to that. Yeah. And that's why I was posting pictures. So then, of course, with this community, that doesn't exist, right? So I start posting videos, and the videos are just my diary. I mean, it's like making a reel is, I don't know why, it's like the present at the end, right? Like, to me, that's the fun part. So
you're like, choose the song that you think fits with it.
So like, making the reel, and I mean, it's honestly enjoyment.
We're just
for
people
me.
In our 40s making reels.
Thank you. Right. So
normalize this, please.
Normalize this, right? So, me, at first it was a lot of personal reasons. And then, when I saw like a couple of people would like send me a DM or like, man, you inspire me every day, or like, your attitude's amazing. I never really looked at myself like that. And then, that became something that I was like, felt obligated to, like, I've not saying I have it all figured out, but like, I've been over a decade, right? Like, going through the roller coaster of nutrition, the roller coaster of your mindset, and all of that stuff. And like the Focus 30 stuff I did last year was everything that I posted was about, everything was a personal experience. Like, the things that I said every week were lessons learned from what I've been through in this 12 years. You know? So, yeah.
The Focus in 30, if you guys do follow him, last year he was doing every Friday.
Every Friday, yes.
A Focus in 30, which was like a little mini like life lesson.
Yeah.
And you're not doing that anymore?
No, so I'm taking a break from that right now.
Did you run out of life lessons?
No, I did not. But this year, I just like.
No, I'm just kidding.
Right. Just taking a step back from it, and I will get back into it again. And what's funny how that whole thing started, because I always wanted to do it, and I think it was New Year's going into 2022, I posted a video, you know, about like getting through the year and all this stuff, and you reposted it, and it was like, because you know, a lot of times you're like, who am I to tell other people anything, right? Like.
I mean, I still feel like that.
Right. You know, it's like imposter syndrome, right? So you reposted that, and it kind of gave me the confidence to go, okay, you need to set out to do this every single week, no matter what, right? Like every Friday you're going to post this. And then people like were hooked to it. And that really made me like step out of my comfort zone, because just like with any other thing you're trying to develop a habit with, there were Fridays where I was completely uninspired, right? Yeah. And a lot of these happened at 4 o'clock in the morning, between 4 and 4:30. Right.
Half the time.
Between 4 and 4:30 in the morning, I need to like come up with something, right? Yeah. And I would never write it out. I didn't have a plan. It was always freestyle, right? Or, you know, maybe I was working out one day on Wednesday and I just got this thought and I would put it in my notes. Like, you're going to talk about that? Didn't know what I was going to say. You know, of course, sometimes it took me up to like 20, 25 takes to get out what I needed to say. But yeah, it was just developing that habit, and, you know, just finding the inspiration from other people is what kept me doing it every Friday, because I didn't want to let anybody down, because I'm one of those people, just like with endurance. If I say I'm going to do 52 weeks endurance, I'm doing it. Like there's no going back from that. So same with Focus in 30, kind of works.
I'm the same way, not with, I mean, obviously I didn't have like a very specific, but I'm the same way with my social media. Like a lot of times people will be like, oh, these are the captions that you write, or this, like, I'm like, there's no plan. Like I'll just be nursing my kid or driving, and I'll have this like, I should do this post, and I throw it up. Because these guys here are always like, if you could just tell us what you plan on posting next Tuesday. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm going to be thinking about next Tuesday. Like, but I am just like you, like the moment that I think it, I have to get it out, because like, this is the moment that I feel that way. Tomorrow, I might not even feel this way anymore, or whatever. I might not be as amped about the message. So I'm that way too. I have to do it like right then and there.
Yeah. And there were some odd places I did it. Like we were like spring break last year. I was in California at Disneyland. I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning in the hotel gym. There's people running on the treadmill. I got a tripod,
you're just talking to yourself,
my camera, and I'm like doing this thing, right? Or, you know, traveling with my students, and I'm in a empty parking lot. Just get it. Cause I just was drawn, like, I have to get this done. I can't let anybody down with this. And it was funny because at the end of December when I did my last one, it was almost sad. Like, oh yeah, because you know what I mean? It's just like, you did this every week. Like I could have kept going, but I knew I needed to break away from it just because I'm finishing my degree up right now. So I was like, I'll break away from it. And then when I get more time, maybe that turns into something different. You know what I mean? Maybe a podcast, maybe something like that. Like who knows? Right. So
that's really cool. And, you know, one of the reasons that I reached out to you the very first time, or that I would repost some of the stuff, like I posted your very first, it sounds like Focus in 30 type situation, is because there are men, it seems to me, are less likely to be involved in like social media communities or posting stuff that might feel more real life. Like dudes post their workouts for sure. Right. But it's usually a little bit less like, hey, let me inspire other dudes. It's more like, let me show off. Yeah. A lot of the times. And when we were first starting, especially back in 2018, because of my following that followed us into street parking, we were always like, we know we have men, but they just don't post. Like we need dudes to post, because that's what's going to inspire the community of guys to rally around each other and inspire each other. And so having somebody like you back then, especially, was so helpful to us. And so if you're anyone, but especially if you're a guy in the street parking community, just know that it makes a big impact on the people that do see your stuff. So we really appreciate when you guys post that kind of stuff, and we can throw it in the story. We can show the world that, hey, there are these amazing humans, dads, people that are in the military, deployed, all of this stuff, who are doing this with you, along with you. And I think it's super powerful. So super appreciated that back in the day. Last thing I wanted to ask you about, and this is a quote that you wrote in the email, that our email exchange before you came here, was, you must buy into the person you want to become in order to change. What did you mean by that?
So like the day that I just quit everything and just got like, you're changing your life today. I had to buy into that, right? I had to believe, like, without a shadow of a doubt, that I was going to make that happen. Because I think where a lot of people fail is they want to do something, but they still don't believe that they're going to be able to do it, right? Like they're going to try to will themselves into, like, I'm going to just will myself into do this for 30 days and then I'm going to change, right? And a lot of times I think people fail in that way. And a lot of people also, let me get an accountability partner. I need an accountability partner to do endurance. Like, no, buy into the fact that
what
you
happens
can
if
do
they
endurance,
fall off?
right? You have to you got to buy into yourself. You have to believe in yourself that you can get that done, whatever that is. Just like with Focus in 30. I had to buy into the fact that I had something important to tell everybody, right? So an important message that maybe inspire one person, maybe inspire a bunch of people one week, didn't matter to me. I just knew that it was going to make a difference, and I bought into that, right? Like, you've been on this journey for over a decade. You have plenty of great knowledge when it comes to a mindset. Like, you need to share that with everybody, you know? So it's almost like looking at yourself in the mirror and just telling yourself, you're this person already. Yes, you may not look like them, but you're already this person if you really want to be that person. And I think that's what's always driven me, right? It's just, I always bought into the plan before I even started. You know, it wasn't like a New Year's resolution. Like, that's it, I'm going to quit everything, you know, because really that was, when I did that was October of
that's so great.
So it wasn't New Year's Eve, right? It wasn't a New Year's resolution.
It's like the time where people are the most or the least likely to do something
right.
like that.
So it was like right at the beginning of October, and I was just like, no more. Like, it's only going to get worse the older you get, and it's going to get harder to bounce back from this. So I just bought into it right there and completely bought into it. I mean, I had people making comments like, oh, there he goes again. He's eating chicken and vegetables. Or, oh, look at this guy. Like, he can't go out. He doesn't want to drink with us anymore. Like, he's obsessed with himself. Like, no, I'm not. Like, I mean, you hear all of that, right?
Yeah, of course.
It's like, that's not the case. The case is just, I want to change. And I believe I'm already changed mentally. Now I'm going to change physically, right?
Right. And I think it can be like your change, or the 52-week endurance, or whatever it is. It seems really big when you look at it. And I think what you need to do is just take it into small chunks. So, like, for example, in your mind, if you're like, well, I believe what you're saying and I understand what you're saying. I am not in a place yet where I believe that I could finish the 52-week endurance program. Well, it's like, well, do you believe that you could finish the first workout of it? Well, yeah, I could do the first one. And then after the first one, do you think you could do one more?
Right.
Sure, I could do one more.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be like that in our workout right now. It's like, all right, I'll do one more. All right, I'll do one more.
Yeah.
And I'm like that with, like, you know, if I go into the garage and I'm like, I really don't feel like working out today, I'm just going to do the first round and see how I feel. Like, I can do one round. And it's like, all right, I'll just do another round. And before you know it, the workout's over and you did the whole thing.
Yes.
And I think you can really break it down. Well, I can eat one meal today. Like, I can do a good breakfast. Okay. Well, can you do a good lunch now? Fine. Sure. I can do a good lunch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe I didn't do a good lunch. Well, can you get back and do a good dinner? Sure. I can make a better choice for dinner. So breaking that big mountain down into the small pieces and just taking it one step at a time. I think where people just look at the whole thing and they're like, I could never do that.
Yeah. Cause it seems like a monumental task, right? Rather than just take it day by day. Like, what did you do something right today? Did you lean into the person you want to be today at some point in time? Right. And I think that's where people get so freaked out about change, because one, instant gratification, everybody wants everything right now. And then two, when they realize it's going to take months, maybe even a year for 52-week endurance, it's like, I don't have the energy for that. Everybody has the energy for that, because
you're going to do something.
You're going to do something, right? And I think I've always done that from the beginning. I mean, luckily, I guess that's kind of a blessing that I've always thought like that, no matter where I was at. It's just, if I want to change, I just need to identify with that person right off the bat and then wake up tomorrow and be that identity, whatever that is.
And the truth is, it's when it comes to like health and fitness stuff, is there's never like, you're never done.
No.
Like, it's not like, okay, I did 52-week endurance. Now I can never work out the rest of my life because I've achieved it. Like, check the box. And so I think going into it with that mentality too, of it's like, this is like a whole rest of your life type thing.
Yeah. And you know, so like I give a class on nutrition to my kids. It's not in our curriculum. I just do it.
That's great.
So I tell them all, like, bring all this in, bring all that in. I mean, I hear kids that tell me that they think Sprite is a fruit drink because it has a lemon and lime on the cover.
Good.
Right? No, it's crazy,
that
right?
Is crazy.
So, you know, I bring all this stuff in. Let me bring a thing of orange juice in and all this stuff because, of course, liquid is where everybody usually messes their diet up. So I said, all right, I'm going to hold this orange juice up. Who thinks this is healthier than this Coca-Cola, right? And then we flip it over and I'm like, how much sugar do you think this orange juice has in it? How much sugar do you think the Coke has? So do all this stuff and it kind of just blows their mind. They're like, whoa, like I always thought if it, you know, it has a fruit on the front. If I drink that, I'm drinking healthy, or Gatorade, right? Like everybody's go-to, which is horrible. And I opened their eyes to all that. And then half of them are like, thanks a lot. Now I know. Like, yeah, now you know. And once you know, you can't deny it. Like now you have to make the decision. It's crazy to me
that this is not just taught. I mean, we've already taught our 5-year-old how to like look at some of that stuff.
Right. And I think they teach it in health, but I don't think they teach in a way that hits home, right? With kids, bring your junk food in. Like, let me get this bottle of ketchup. Let me show you how much sugar's in this. Let me show you. And then when you show them all that stuff, then to them, it like hits home with them because this is what your diet's made up of primarily.
Yeah.
Right. I don't just come in there and go, hey, you should eat oranges and meat and vegetables. Like, I'm like, okay, this is all the junk y'all eat. This is how much sugar's in that. And then they're like, whoa, yeah.
That's awesome. Last question. So back to that quote that you said, you must buy into the person you want to become. And because we just said like this, it's a never ending. There's always more.
Yeah.
What is your next person you're trying to become? Like, where are you at? What are your goals for yourself? Like, and that doesn't have to be fitness related. Yeah.
So, for me, like, yeah, it's not really fitness related because that's never going to end for me. It's not, I don't have any like specific strength goals or anything like that. My goal is just to move every day and just be as youthful as I possibly can. I'm currently doing my master's in education right now. I'll graduate in July. I'll finally be done with that. And then after that, you know, do I want to teach JROTC forever? No, I want to get into physical education potentially at the elementary school level.
Oh, nice.
So that's the next goal. Like once my son graduates, which will be in 3 years. And, you know, just be in the fitness space, physical education space. Like after my son graduates, that's my next move to like get all the way back into that again. And then just to live life every day happy, like legitimately happy. And going to Fitness Freedom kind of opened my eyes to that. Like it changed my life.
You're coming back again?
Oh, for sure. I'm going to Jack's, I'm going to Austin, and I'll be at Fitness Freedom. Right. So it changed my life. It was the first street parking meetup I went to, you know, and just being around so many like-minded people and actually like just be open to just being myself and like doing stuff that I'm so passionate about. It changed me forever. Like I left and went through some serious internal conflict in my life trying to go, you know, get back to this is the person you're supposed to be. Like you've been shadowing that person for way too long. And yeah, so lots of good change happening in my life. And yeah, so just now it's just living every day to the fullest. Like, are you happy today? Did you do something today that you enjoy? Yes, there are going to be things you don't enjoy to do. Of course, right? My job is, you know, sometimes I don't want to go to school and teach, but, you know, just counting my blessings and waking up every day, knowing that the things I can control, are they making me happy? If they are, great. If they're not, I need to move away from them. That's kind of where I'm at now.
Well, we're about to go do something that's going to be both hard and I think will be fun. It sounds fun. I think we're going to have fun. We're going to have fun. And to by the time this airs, this will be old news. But as the time of the recording, you tomorrow will be earning your 1,000 workout banner
Yes,
one day before your 45th birthday.
Yes, yes.
So that's super exciting.
Crazy, right? Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we better go over to the garage and get this done.
Okay.
Can't wait for you guys to see the workout that we're about to do, and can't wait to see how it goes for you. All right. See you next time.